Yo, post neck day, little lower body mobility routine here. So a goblet squat, we can also use something below our heels to elevate the heels, but might not be necessary. So you can have a kettlebell or a dumbbell. The dumbbell we would just hold like that, but a kettlebell is just nice. Bring your thumb on the outside, pointing towards you. Just kind of rest here instead of having to hold it like this. But then it's basically like a front squat here, but the weight might allow us to get further, open up the hips a bit. And so staying for a second at least in the bottom position would be nice, because we're not going to go so heavy, right? Spending time in this position. It can increase our, well, squat depth, open up our hips, but even ankle mobility. Then a Jefferson curl for the hamstrings. So it's the exact opposite cue to a Romanian deadlift. If we on a Romanian deadlift want to keep our back fairly straight and allow the knees to bend as we hinge, the opposite here. We try to keep our legs straight and we round our upper back. Good stretch here. So we can use the searcher position with a bar, but you can, depends on your mobility, you can hold it in your hands. If you can elevate your feet so you don't touch the floor, it depends on your mobility, but it doesn't really matter. You can even have a kettlebell holding your hands as long as there will be space. Do not touch the floor, but like this. On many of these, at least, you can, on the last rep, we're going to get to sets and reps, but on the last rep you could just spend 10 seconds as a static stretch to finish the set. So now this bench is a little in the way, but I want to get a Cossack squat. What you do, you're going to have to experiment a little bit with your current foot position for this. But then it looks like this. You come down on the one side, lean forward, it's hamstring, but it's mostly the insides, right? So you can lean into it like this. And so here I can, at least on the first few, I can spend a little time like this, finding what's a good position and leaning into the stretch a bit. But then I get going, maybe I want to actually train being a little smooth in all of this. Could spend 10 seconds on each side at the end here too. And for the insides, it works well as a static stretch. You just have a wide stance and kind of lean forward. And then it depends on your mobility. You will have to use something here because getting here is too painful. But then you can progressively overload by gradually being able to do this further. And here you can experiment with angles. Wow. Okay, so we can have a pigeon squat. So a pigeon position, just a stretch, works quite well too, but I like this variation where you elevate the front leg so that you can come down like this. Gross stretch. And so depending on the position here, I would kind of have to use my back leg. It's a stretch here mainly, but it's the back leg that takes me up and down. If I can have this higher up, I would actually be able to push my knee into the box or bench and train, actually not just get a stretch, but train abduction there too. But as a mobility exercise, it works just fine to not even do that, just use the other leg to go in and up of the stretch. Definitely spend 10 seconds in that. It's a great static stretch as well. I think these are really the important things, but if we want to get some quad mobility, like we do a deep squat there, but with the hip flexor more, you can do couch stretch like this. And so here, it's really how we would have to find where we like to have our foot here, but then it's kind of like we don't want to hang completely into the hip. We need to push our glutes forward, but then we can move further into deeper stretch like that. Excellent, just static stretch. And I feel like doing it on the other side because I did it on the, like some of these stretches, you're gonna notice that if you hit them well, it's not that you need to spend so much time to get some effect from it. and even a couch stretch, managing to do like a minute on each side in a deep stretch. I've gotten a lot of work done. Something I realized about stretching, it doesn't have to be so outdrawn. Like if you can push it to failure, you know, do very intense stretches, get so much done with just the old stretch. But one last one, might be a little difficult to fit in here, but so that stretch is going to be mostly the rectus femoris hip flexor, the one that is one of the heads of the quadriceps. To hit more of the ellipsoas, we need to get our back leg into a straighter position. And then, well, a static stretch that looks something like this, but it's not the best. This one I actually like to have a bit more dynamic in here with the knees over toe split squat. It can be a strength exercise, but it also ankle mobility and on the back leg a hip flexor stretch. Just gonna try to keep that leg straight all the time, or at least activate, push it forward like this. Try to keep upright, not lean into it. It's kind of a movement like that. And yeah, this, wouldn't have to do all of these. Like the couple, I took them almost in order of importance, but it's more like the 4 or 5 first one are the most important. But doing 2 to 3 sets, 10 reps, for those that have reps, 30-ish seconds, it would really depend with the static stretches how intense you go. 2 to 3 sets, it's a good lower body routine to open up the hips, lengthen everything, and hopefully increase squat depth as well.